Alright then, a couple of the drivers making their way round the final bend. And we'll be able to get some of those laps coming in shortly for the first lap of qualifying here in Canada for C4, round 5. That's SVW first to go across the line. And they invalidated early on there. As I see a couple of people, 11 people now joining the stream. So as I say, welcome to Canada C4. We've already got some yellow flags out there on the circuit. I think that's at Sector 3, just people backing up the pack, looking for a gap on track. Racing on board with one of the new drivers, the Haas now of Goran Potsner. Be interesting to see how they get on their Racing League Hub debut. The only one driver so far going out on the mediums. Oh, and there is an incident there. And it's Moz made in the Ferrari. That is out. We didn't get to see the full incident. But as we went to see Berlin Blues there being the only driver to set a lap on the medium tyres, we did see that Moz made in the Ferrari is out of the session. And look at that for a debut drive. First lap round the circuit. Obviously, he's going to be the fastest up the track. But a nice 1 minute 11 for Goran Potsner. I bet he'll be very happy to have got a lap early on there. Calm those nerves down. And it looks like it's just faster than G Infamous, going with a 1 minute 11.6. As track limits done by Berlin Blues. As Apex Motoring Club on the medium tyres as well. Sorry we didn't pick that up a bit earlier. Going in with a 1 minute 11.7. Must be feeling rather confident to go quicker than the quickest times at the moment, being on those slightly slower tyres. I understand we have got the Apex Army in the chat there today. A couple of hashtag Apex Armies already going out. I did get the memo, got a couple of messages early on today from Apex, just to let everyone know that the Apex Army is out in full force. Always good to see a big following for one of the drivers. As we now join on board with RPM Dragos. Making his way down to turns 13 and 14, the final chicane. Very neatly done. And we'll see where that puts Dragos. That's currently 7th place. As we see SVW now picking up a very fast lap time, only 0.002 there between Goran Potsner and SVW, now into the pits. As we now ride with Jono, we're going to go for an onboard with Jono. As they just set a fastest middle sector. Nice and tidy through 13 and 14. Enough for 5th fastest. As we now get a new fastest, as just saw SVW off the circuit. New fastest time set by Philip Hogston on 4-lap old soft tyres. We'll very much be looking to preserve those tyres for the remainder of the lap coming into the pits. As you see, Skipper now set the fastest time of 1 minute 10.970. You will notice that as the session goes on, the drivers do feel a bit more confident, a bit more comfortable with the circuit, and will be setting faster times throughout as they push the car to the limits. An annoyed gamer at I believe that's the second or third attempt there after breaching a couple of track limits on the medium tyres. Gets 1 minute 11.2. SVW now setting the pace with a 1 minute 10.947. The Williams driver, the fastest lap of the session so far. See some of the drivers a bit lower down the pecking order at the moment. See if they're able to set some times. Goran Potzner, the debut racer, now going fastest again on the circuit. We'll be sure to keep an eye on them a bit later on in the qualifying session, on what could be their final stint. And Destroyer going up to second place in that Ferrari. G Infamous looking to bridge the gap for the top 3 drivers in the classification. Currently going into the pit lane, sitting in 8th place. We're looking to refocus, reset, and hopefully set a faster time in the remainder of the qualifying. Who is currently out on the circuit? That was an adventurous line we did see. Not entirely sure which driver that was. Most drivers coming into the pits. Apex Army, how are we feeling about this one? Purple middle sector, up by 0.6. Obviously out there on the new soft tyres, as Huss now sets the pace for a 1 minute 10.4. Very neat around the final corners. And it's enough for second place for Apex Motoring Club. I'm sure the Apex Army are very pleased with that one. As we see comments from Liam Casey. Yes to Apex Motoring Club. Surely one of the Apex Army supporting their driver. As we see Double still yet to set a time on the circuit. And it looks like we did have a car facing the wrong way there. And have got a lack of front wing as well there for Double. Doesn't seem to have been their session. Not sure whether they're going to have the time to get around. They might just have the time, in fact, to get around the circuit, replace that front wing and be able to set a time. The top four all currently sat in the pit lane waiting for a very late rush to the circuit. As we have SVW with, I believe it was G Infamous just behind. I have noticed no TDT racing tonight. Likewise, there is no Goon as well, which means that there are a lot of championship places up for grabs, with the two leaders of the championship so far both not racing. Huss looking to take advantage, and Huss currently setting the pace in qualifying. SVW not going to be setting fastest this time as they reach track limits. Skipper currently up on their time, but a lot of traffic around them. As MB Goldell goes second fastest. Their first time of the session. Skipper still managing to be slightly up on their time, but that's not going to help. And that's the front wing gone. Definitely going to have to return to the pits. Not sure they're going to have time to come back out and set a lap. And Nath currently improving on their time by 0.5. They keep that up, might be able to sneak a top 10. We'll ride on board of them. MB Gold now setting the fastest time. That's two back-to-back laps for MB Gold. Now going fastest. A bit of a mid-corner adjustment that looked like from Nath. Might have cost them a bit of time, and in fact it did end up being up on their their previous lap round the circuit. As Apex Motoring Club looking to take the fastest route around the circuit after breaching track limits. As the Destroyer slightly faster on their time, a purple first sector. And the Destroyer is faster again. 0.2 up on their time, so this could be around a 1 minute 10.5. As we see going now, set their fastest there onto 7th place. SVW now setting the pace with 1 minute 10.3. Let's see, Destroyer across the line, 1 minute 10.5 as predicted, pushing them up to 4th position. How can Apex Motoring Club respond? The Apex Army cheering them on. They are slightly up on their time on the first sector, but down on the time in the second sector and aborting the lap by the looks of things. So hopefully they'll be able to stay in the top 10 for the qualifying. As we jump on board with the Annoyed Gamer. What can they do on their last lap? The checker flag is out, and it's enough to see them into the top 3 at the moment with a fastest 3rd sector. What does Huss have to say? Huss won't have anything to say because they have done track limits. The Destroyer coming into the pit lane. G Infamous goes slower. Can Jarno improve? Jarno can. It's enough for 12th place. And we've only got one more driver setting a lap, I believe. And that is this driver right here, RPM Dragos. Goes across the line. It is a slight improvement. It is on the medium tyres. And it's 15th fastest for RPM Dragos. So it looks like we're just waiting for the lobby to pick up all the drivers that have entered the pits or completed a lap, which they have. So, confirmation of the grid. We have SVW starting in pole, followed very closely there by MB Gold. Not much to split the two drivers. Annoyed Gamer starts the 3rd place on the 2nd row of the grid, capped out there by Huss. Huss obviously looking to take the lead of the championship if they can, obviously with Goon and TDT not racing. In 5th we have got the Destroyer in that Ferrari. 6th positions Apex Motoring Club. 7th place we had Philip Hogston, and we'll get the nice graphic on the screen once we load into the race. Apex Army, as we load in, how are we feeling? What do we think the chances are of an Apex podium tonight? We'd love to hear your reaction to the qualifying session in the comments. I do try my best to read them, as well as keeping my eyes on the action. Liam feeling confident for Apex, saying that he has got this. I'm sure there's a couple of drivers feeling confident. I'm sure there's a couple of drivers feeling nervous. So there we have the confirmation of the starting grid. So I know that we got up to Philip Hogston, the 2nd of the Mercedes. 2 Mercedes going at it, the grid 6th and 7th. It's always crucial to have a good teammate in the races, one that you can communicate with and one that you will look after each other with on the circuits. Unlike Giraffe BHA on Tuesday nights, taking me out. Yep, all is not forgiven. Debut driver Goran Potner set a couple of the fastest laps in qualifying, but wasn't able to cap that out with a top 3 start, starting in 8th place, so I'm sure they will be happy and looking to score some good points on their first race, with their teammate Goey just behind. Good to see Goey back on the circuit. Don't believe we've seen them for a couple of weeks. And Nath capping out the top 10 in the Alpine with G Infamous. A bit of a surprise being there in 11th position. Currently sat in 4th place in the standings. We'll be looking to make a couple of overtakes early on. Skipper is going to be starting the race in 12th. Jarno is in 13th. Snell Henk in 14th. 15th was RPM Dragos. Futu Retro in 16th. The Berlin Blues. Probably feeling quite blue at the moment in 17th, but it can really only get better from there. Morsmaid crashing out early on in the session, starting in 18th position, and Double, who didn't set a lap around the circuit, starts at the back of the pack. The Apex Army are confident. The drivers are all on the grid. And we'll now just wait for the lights. And it's lights out, and away we go here in Canada at the circuit de Gilles Villeneuve. And already we have a battle at the front. Make sure they're all keeping it nice and clean. And it's not been the dream start for Apex Motoring Club, falling down to 10th position. And a bit of contact there as well, and they have got damage. Likewise does G Infamous. Towards the front of the pack, a fantastic getaway from MB Gold, with Huss chasing them down, and SVW in 3rd position. The Annoyed Gamer falling to 4th position. As we have yellow flags in Sector 2. It looks like they're all clear, and we are back to racing. So it looks like we've got a bit of a gap there from the top 5 to destroy the destroyer even after the Annoyed Gamer. And then we've got a bit of a gap to Goran Potsma. Philip Hogston 7th place, going in 8th. And 9th is Nath. Skipper in 10th, 11th, and Apex Motoring Club coming into the pit lane there, a bit too hot, got a 5-second time penalty. I'm sure they'll be able to serve it later on in the session. Double going for a bit of spin, Double making up 7 places so far. It couldn't get worse than qualifying, and it's a very fantastic start for them, making up quite a few places. But we have got yellow flags, as Berlin Blues look to have taken a bit of a spin, and the virtual safety car is out on the circuit, which might be helping drivers like Apex Motoring Club. Apex and Future Retro both going on to the hard tyres. Apex did pick up that penalty. Annoyed Gamer causing a 5-second time penalty for a severe collision with SVW. We didn't see that one. That'd be interesting to see if we hear anything on the steward's review in the coming days. But it was a fantastic start from Haas, getting up those 2 places. Crucial for them in the Drivers' Championship. So we still have a virtual safety car on the circuit. Obviously with the new update on the track, if we do get the safety car, we will get the updated safety car, the Aston Martin safety car, which I don't know if anyone here is really excited to see a safety car, but maybe Apex Motoring Club or Future Retro might be now. And some speeding under the safety car done by Nave, picking up a penalty. We also have a drive-through penalty as well for MB Gold, most probably doing the same thing, speeding on that on the virtual safety car restart. So We'll just quickly flick to what tyres the drivers are on the circuit, and the top 10 all on those soft tyres. A couple of other drivers also on the softs. RPM Dragos, the first of the medium runners, just overtaken though. In fact, not overtaken, they've had an incident. And now the new front runner for the medium tyres is the Annoyed Gamer. And Nath picking up a for speeding into the pit lane. It hasn't been a good start for Nath. The Destroyer setting the fastest time of the session though, and we actually have a safety car now out for the circuit. It looks like it's an incident involving Mosmate and potentially future Retro, who's moving quite slowly. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see that incident. RPM Dragos into the pits. Saved for that incident by there being a safety car. This is for those who are not just Apex fans, but are Aston Martin fans. And Apex Motoring Club giving us a nice close-up of the back of the Aston Martin safety car. I don't know if there was an on-screen message to pass the safety car or not, but better to be safe than sorry. And RPM Dragos has decided to retire from the session. Bit of a strange one, given that they are under safety car conditions. So we can see most drivers decided to stay out on the circuit. Actually, I tell a lie, that's because they haven't come round yet. Most drivers going into the pit lane, I should say. SVW and the Destroyer staying out, as is Goran Potner. But it's medium tyres for a lot of drivers. We're going on to the mediums now. Only need to do another stop for mediums midway through the session. So making sure you are using 2 compounds of tyres. And the Annoyed Gamer will be very happy that Goey backed out of that one coming out to the pits, because that keeps them track position of 7th place, right behind their teammate Huss, who has rejoined the track in 6th. So the front 5 drivers there, all on the soft tyres as they started the race. Huss on those fresh medium tyres will be looking to keep the pace of them to begin with and utilise the fact that they will only have 1 more stop to go. As we have a little look on the position change, as Philip Hogston gets a penalty for some contact with Jarno. As MB Gold and Double are racing a bit. Be interesting to see what was going on there. As safety car going around 1 more lap gives the opportunity for Nath, Berlin Blues and Future Retro to catch up. As we can see though in the position changes, it's been a good start for Jarno, moving up 8 places on the circuit. Yes, they haven't pitted, but who knows what potential opportunities there may be later on in this session, where this track position so far, being in 5th position, may benefit them hugely. The racing time penalty for Future Retro, pushing a bit too hard, trying to catch the pack, and is breaching some track limits on the circuit. Who would do that under the safety car? Definitely not the entity on Tuesday nights. And the safety car is going to be in this lap. as the pack is all joined together here. We are ready to go racing. Safety car's in. SVW deciding not to back up the pack and go straight away with Destroyer right behind them. Philip Hogston did not get the memo. And gaps are starting to appear. Berlin Blues getting a penalty. Destroyer is all over the back of the race leader. And Jarno is catching Goran Potner. Jarno looking to capitalise on that fantastic start so far. We'll flick to MB Gold, who's going to be making up a few positions. First of which is going to be the Williams of Snell Henk. A little bit sideways on exit for the Destroyer gives the opportunity for SVW to pull away. No DRS yet, as obviously we just had the safety car, so we have to have 3 clear laps of racing before we get DRS active. See what's happening a bit further down. Huss is really close to Goran Potner, but not close enough to make a move. MB Gold does make the move on Snell Henk. Goes a bit deep but does park it on the apex. So that is MB Gold now back into the top 10. And Goey thinking about a move on the inside, decides against it. Probably the better decision there. Huss still right on the back of Goran, as is the Destroyer on the back of SVW. And we'll quickly flip back to MB Gold, and what's happening down at the hairpin is contact. And there's a lot of positions being changed there. So Skipper losing out the most. Snell Henk currently on the outside of them. And it looks like we have got an incident on the circuit. Philip Hogston out after an incident there at turn 14, and the safety car back on the circuit. Jarno straight away utilising that chance to pit. Unfortunately, doesn't look like the pack spread out enough to be of an advantage for them to be going into the pits. MB Gold also heading back into the pit lane, potentially picking up some damage out there in the incident at the turn, at the hairpin at turn 10. So 15 drivers still remaining on the circuit. 15 drivers, if you finish the race, you'll all score a point. There'll be more drivers than what we had in Monaco last week, where only 10 drivers, I believe. In fact, it wasn't 10 drivers, I think it was 9 drivers completed the Monaco track. So I see most of the drivers now deciding to go into the pits and to complete their first pit stop. SVW and the Destroyer still staying out there, as is Goran Potner. I'm sure they were coming into the pits now. They are, and I'm sure they will be heartbroken that there is the safety car. Although the Destroyer deciding to stay out on the track, as is Goran Potner. Interesting to see how those soft tyres are doing, see how long they can last in the session. It's always a difficult one, deciding whether or not it's worth pitting. As we saw for Jarno there, the pack didn't split enough, meaning that although they had track position on the first safety car, by the time they came and done their pit stop, the rest of the pack had already filtered through, so they're now there in 12th position. But it's not all a loss, as they are on fresher tyres to most drivers out there on the circuits. Likewise, the same situation for MB Gold on a fresh pair of soft tyres. Apex Motoring Club still in the session, still in the points now. Apex Army will be looking for some heroics, as we hear that the safety car is going to be in this lap. Just looking into the chat there, C2 had a big crash at the start. That is correct, C2 did have a big crash at the start. It happened in front of me and I had a car facing the wrong way. As the Destroyer gets us going. And it looks like they got the jump on Haas. Just looking to get a better picture of what's going on, and it looks like we have got an incident, and it's Future Retro. Down at turn 4-5. As Goey now chasing down the annoyed gamer, forced to go the long way round the outside on the hairpin, but he's going to get the move done potentially before then. Annoyed gamer later on the braking. Goran Potner involved as well now, going quite slowly. Annoyed gamer going for the inside line. How is this one going to end? Annoyed gamer decided to break out of it, let the two Haas drivers go through. Snell Henk picking up a 3-second time penalty, trying to keep up with the action. As the race for third place really heating up here. Likewise, the race for first of Haas chasing down the Destroyer. The Destroyer on those older soft tyres that they started the race on, 12 laps old soft tyres. But it's all happening behind Goran Potner, and it's a fantastic getaway there from Goey, gets the undercut done. Goran Potner not going to defend too hard to their teammate. Maybe will defend a bit harder to Annoyed Gamer in the AlphaTauri. A bit further back we have Nath chasing down Double, who has had a fantastic start. It's a bit of a dive down the inside, I have to admit that from Nath. Double keeps the position around the outside. Double, who didn't set a lap, I believe, in qualifying, now racing in 7th position. As Annoyed Gamer has got past Goran Potner, as DRS becomes enabled. Back to the Nath and Double battle for 7th position. Double giving plenty of room for Nath, keeping it on the inside, a little bit of contact, rubbing his racing. The elbows are definitely out there, and Nath gets the undercut again. It's some fantastic racing going on, but does go deep. Nath's off the circuit, catches their teammates in the process of returning to the circuit. Oh no. It's a shambles for the Alpine team. Very much like the Aston Martins on the Tuesday night in C2. Contact between the two teammates plays into the hands for Apex Motoring Club, though, who will be making up a couple of places. I'm sure the Apex Army won't be too disappointed at this, as we do see Andy Dearlove cheering on Double. And you have to say fair play to Double for being where they are at the moment, as they are currently the most improved driver, up 12 places. And speaking of up places, we have Snell Henk now running in 5th position. They are being chased down by Goran Potner. So we've got Haas now setting the fastest time on the circuit, looking to pick up that extra points for the fastest lap time. And we're unsure whether there is an issue with Goran Potner. It doesn't look like there's any damage to the car, but he's having some difficulties. I'll just double check that they are the soft tyres that they started the race on, and those soft tyres seem to have gone. You see them dropping down the order. They're now in 6th position. The Destroyer cannot keep the pace with Huss, who is the race leader, falling well out of DRS range. They are currently picking a good gap though to Goey, who is now in 3rd position. A good return for them so far, the Haas driver. Not going to give up that seat easily, which is what we love to see. As G Infamous looking to make a move on their teammate. I mean, not the drive out of the corner that they wanted, but Double has made another place, and this time it's an overtake on Goran Potner, who does go into the pits finally to change those soft tyres. As it's all happening there between G Infamous and Skipper. Skipper on the faster medium tyres, whilst G Infamous looking to make those hard tyres last a bit longer in the session. As we're right on board, we will watch this one through with Skipper chasing down G Infamous for 7th position. And worth noting, the driver behind them is Apex Motoring Club, now in the top 10. As we've joined by Benny in the chat, we got P3 yesterday with C1. Congratulations on your podium, Benny. Now with the gap of just 0.2, DRS open. Skipper forced to go around the outside, and looks like they've made the move way before turn 13 and 14. They have done. And that's 7th place for Skipper as the Destroyer now comes into the pit lane. Set of medium tyres. Bit of a slow getaway coming out of the pits, but looks like they will get out still in the top 10. Apex Motoring Club though making up some of those positions from that horrible start that they had. Now up to 8th position on only 6-lap-old medium tyres. MV Gold now returning for a fastest lap on their own at 1 minute 12.2 on those soft tyres. You can see the cars being a bit lighter as the session progresses. So the fast times will go through if they are on those soft tyres. And extra points to the driver if they do get a fastest lap of the session, permitting they do obviously finish the race and also finish in the points. And Skipper might have another victim, and this time they are hunting down Double, who is now in 5th position. So this is the battle for some decent points at the moment. It's a late move, but it's a good move nonetheless. A potential risk on track limits on the inside, but no penalty picked up there, and that is Skipper ahead of Double. Double will be looking to keep up with Skipper here and utilise DRS. Skipper is on fresher medium tyres though. As we do notice on the intervals on the circuit that the gaps are starting to appear. Maybe some gaps are tempting some people into maybe making a pit stop, as we have some yellow flags in Sector 2. And it looks like Snell Henk having some difficulties as they fall into 8th position. Apex Motoring Club into 7th place. So we got quite a few Double fans. We got Jacob Heather. He plays Trackmania most of the week. Is that? I believe we're still talking about Double. That's some in-depth driver knowledge for everyone there watching the stream. Thank you for the information, Jacob Heather. But as I say, the gaps appearing on the circuit might be tempting some drivers to potentially head into the pits and utilise the gaps on the track so they don't lose many positions. In fact, Snell Henk Maybe picking up some damage where they had their incident there on the last lap. And the Destroyer now setting the fastest time on the track with the medium tyres. So definitely is time out there on the circuit. Apex Motoring Club looking to take advantage of a bit of an error by Team Infamous. Not going to make the move there, a bit too far back. Needs to regain their composure, needs to close that gap and utilise the DRS zones. Team Infamous will not be looking to make this easy, but is on those hard tyres. Destroyer picking up a 3-second time penalty, and it's a bit of a late dive by Apex Motoring Club. If they stayed with it, they might have been able to make the move. They might still be able to make the move as Team Infamous took the corner very cautiously. And with the DRS open, no doubt, Apex Motoring Club on the inside. Trying to leave enough room for Team Infamous. Team Infamous completely backing out of that one. And that is Apex Motoring Club with the most adventurous overtake of the day. Moving up to 6th position. But will have scrubbed up those medium tyres, those 9-lap old mediums. Team Infamous picks up a 3-second time penalty. And we will utilise that as a great excuse to pull up the current penalties on the screen. As you can see, a couple of drivers with the 3-second time penalties. Obviously for multiple warnings of track limits on the circuit. Where all 4 wheels have left the circuit and now seem to have picked up a slight advantage. As you can see with the leader, Huss pulling away 7 seconds, but it's slightly more than the 7 seconds on screen. As we can see, they also have got a 3-second time penalty, Goey has, which I'm sure they're not too disheartened by, having a 3-second advantage to 3rd place, which is currently Annoyed Gamer, permitting that they can keep that gap. A 3-second time penalty is not too much of a concern. And a good return to C4 for Goey, currently occupying 2nd place, and a lovely podium finish. Annoyed Gamer and Skipper though both with no penalties. And speaking of penalties, Double the driver in 5th position, picking up another 3-second time penalty, so that's 6 seconds. The 3-second time penalties you cannot serve in the pit lane. It's only the 5-second time penalties for either severe contact or speeding under the safety car. Or speeding in the pit lane, in fact. Apex Motoring Club now not with the penalties, so can be quite composed with this overtake. Hopefully a nice calm one. Something off an Old Spice commercial, some would say. Would do the trick. Double does take that wider line, which does get them a nice run off down the back straight. But Apex Motoring Club will have DRS and might be looking to make a move, not at this set of corners, but hopefully the set of corners following, which is going to be turns 1 and 2. DRS is open. The gap is going down. And it's a bit of a lunge. Double does leave space. Double does keep it on the inside. But Apex Motoring Club does keep it round the outside. Some fantastic racing. Bit of rubbing, but not too much contact between them. No damage to each car. Some very good racing and a very good move by Apex Motoring Club. After what was a bit of a lunge to begin with, Double did very well defending that. Kept the inside by Apex Motoring Club round the outside of turn 2. A fantastic move, as I say, just like an Old Spice commercial. As we'll just flick down to Annoyed Gamer. So at the end of Sector 2 there. Chasing down Goran Potner. Annoyed Gamer on fresh medium tyres will be looking to make this move nice and quickly. Well, Potner does get a good drive though, off to the back straight. As they head down to turn 13 and 14, Apex Motoring Club does now pick up their first penalty of the session. not going to be too phased by that, as the drivers around them also have got penalties. Apex Motoring Club looking to hunt down Destroyer now. We'll go to Annoyed Gamer, who has made the move up the inside of Goran Potner and has made that move very nicely done there by Annoyed Gamer from 7th position before turn 1 had even started. And Be Gold picking up a penalty there, another penalty, so that's another 3 seconds to their time. 9 seconds worth of penalties. It's not been a good day so far for the Alpine drivers, but the day's not over. Still 13 laps remaining on the session. 13 laps being the amount of laps that the Destroyer did on the soft compounder tyres starting the race. They're now in 4th position on 6 lap old medium tyres. Looking to hunt down Skipper, and they are heading into the pit lane. Be interesting to see if the Destroyer is thinking about staying out on the circuit, maybe utilising a safety car to stay out on the circuit later on, as both Huss and Goey goes into the pits, but Huss rejoins the circuit and rejoins in 1st position. Huss will be now looking to just keep it clean and finish the race on these medium tyres. We'll finish the race in 1st. Apex Motoring Club, though, isn't done with the overtaking just yet. Probably will have to pit again with 13 lap old mediums. But who doesn't like watching an overtake? And Apex Motoring Club is hunting down another one. And this time they are hunting down the Ferrari of the Destroyer. And Skipper picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. As we also see Goey, who just came out of the pit lane on fresh mediums, going to be hunting down Apex Motoring Club. As I say, it's all to play for today for the standings, as TDT and Goon, the top 2 drivers, not racing. Obviously only 3 races on the championship for C4 so far, and Goey picking up a time penalty there, are on board with it, cutting turns 13. Already, as we were saying, there are only 3 races taking place for C4 after the utter carnage that happened in Austria. Not sure if that stream still exists. Goey looking to hunt down Apex Motoring Club, though, who may be looking to pit soon on those medium tyres. Maybe waiting for a potential safety car to pit under Apex Motoring Club. How much does that sit in your mind? No one really knows until you're in that situation. Brad Goontree, we love Apex, we do. Well, with some quality racing today on show, some fantastic overtaking, does make for a spectacle. And speaking of overtaking, it's exactly what Skipper is looking to do here on Goran Potner. Skipper, who's currently 6th in the championship after getting some good points there, I believe it was at Monaco. Looking to improve and keep his charge in the Drivers' Championship by getting some good points here, and overtaking Goran Potner might help with that. And Goran Potner going very slowly on the back straight there, makes it very easy for Skipper to make that move. We have yellow flags in Sector 2, it looks like it's one of the Alpines, and it is MB Gold. As we quickly flick back to Snell Henk. Destroyer picking up another penalty. It's interesting to see Snell Henk utilising DRS. Will they be able to get the move done on G Infamous? Doesn't look like they have the speed. We'll have to wait potentially another lap. So, as we mentioned about penalties, some penalties being picked up at the front of the pack. And the Destroyer is now on 6 seconds. Goey is on 6 seconds as well. So, if Apex Motoring Club, yes, they do need to pit again. Some of the other drivers around them might also be pitting too. But with 3 seconds less penalties, how the tides have changed. and how he's sitting in a good position. So Infamous pulling out a bit more of a gap that time on Snell Henk. Nave picking up another penalty. MB Gold also picking up a penalty. Does set the fastest time, but does also have a spin and does have damage. It's an end plate, and now that looks like the rest of the front wing. They do manage to get out of the way of their Alpine teammate. A bit better than what happened earlier on in the race. And that's another place picked up for Jono. Jono may be disappointed after the fantastic start that they did have. But finishing the race where they are, they will still be scoring some good points. And Apex Motoring Club fresh onto the circuit after pitting for soft tyres. We were wondering what the strategy was going to be. It is a late soft push from Apex Motoring Club, and they are already gaining on Goran Potner at a very fast rate. Definitely one to watch out later on. And speaking of watching out, we're going to watch very closely here with Goey chasing down Destroyer. Destroyer looking to defend. Forces go around the outside. Goey has got ahead and has made the move stick into turns 13 and 14. The Destroyer may be feeling those tyres now. 11 lap old mediums. And look at that gap, as we were mentioning. It was 2 seconds when we last checked. Now just 1 second. Apex Motoring Club is flying on these circuits and is flying right up to 6th position, which is Goran Potner. The Destroyer is keeping up with Goey, which is interesting to see, as they now get DRS. We will go back to Apex Motoring Club. It's a shame we haven't developed a red button feature where we can ride on board with all of our favourite drivers. Right, now 2 big races going on. One by Apex Motoring Club, looking to make the move up the inside, and does make the move up the inside. We'll be looking to take that 7 seconds down from Skipper with 7 laps remaining. So go back to the Destroyer on those older tyres, then Goey. But I'm not giving up at all. Just 0.4 the gap. No ground gain for Goey in the last lap. The Destroyer is not going to let this one go. Both on 6 seconds of penalties. They are racing for position on the track. Interesting to see if Annoyed Gamer would be able to capitalise on them racing for position. No penalties for the Annoyed Gamer, currently 9 seconds behind them though. And speaking of seconds, the seconds are clocking down to 6.7 the gap for Apex Motoring Club there. And we ride on board for double for some of those double fans. As we can see there in the top left on the intervals, the Destroyer has dropped off of Goey. as we see Double chasing down Goran Potner. Decides to back out of it on turns 13 and 14, but will have DRS for another go at it. As they go across the line and run into turn 1, it'll be Gold picking up another time penalty on the circuit. It might be a new record for Canada. And are we having a bubble? No, we're having a double. Double now up to 7th position. Yes, they have got 6 seconds worth of penalties. There are 5 laps remaining though. If they can pull out the gap to Goran, who knows where they're going to end up. Goran Potner probably not too phased at this moment in time though. It's their first race at C4. No penalties on the board. In the top 10. And I'm sure they'll be picking up a couple of places due to the penalties ahead of them. Speaking of places, G Infamous, the next driver to make a move on Goran Potner. Maybe it hasn't gone G Infamous's way today, but looking to score some solid points nonetheless. As I always say, G Infamous a very consistent driver. So they're not going to give up this one easy. Bits of contact avoids the wall of champions. Both drivers well within their rights to stick their elbows out there. Goran Potner taking some adventurous lines. G Infamous, a very late dive, but a very nice dive, utilising the inside curb there. Not too much curb. A lovely gap. Goran Potner did pull out of it as well. But a fantastic move. A real opportunist overtake by G Infamous, who does have a bit of a moment there at turns 8 and 9. It does manage to hold it. Destroyer picking up another time penalty, which does play into the hand for the Annoyed Gamer. The Annoyed Gamer now within 9 seconds of the Destroyer. The Destroyer needed to pick up the pace and keep the Annoyed Gamer at bay, but that will put Annoyed Gamer into 3rd position on the circuit. Someone we haven't covered really at all today, and that is Haas. They've had a fantastic drive. Up 3 places, no penalties, made the right decisions under the safety car, had their pit stop, came back out from the pit stops, narrowly in 1st, but was in 1st crucially, and was able to drive away from there. There are a couple of early shouts for driver of the day. Goey has had a fantastic drive, coming back to C2 in the Haas. Has been involved in a fair amount of overtakes as well, including an early on battle with Goran Potner in the Haas. Going 3 across with Annoyed Gamer, I believe, early on. And now looking settled in 2nd position. Skipper now hunting down the Annoyed Gamer. Yes, they have a penalty, but if they can pull out a gap, who knows? Not able to make the move into the 1st corner though, or turn 2. But Skipper currently up 7th place. Would feel very good if they were up on track, 8 places up, although the penalties will pull them back down, as we have got yellow flags and we have got what looks like an Alpine out of the session. And there you can just see on the left of the screen, it is Nath out of the session. Gutting for Nath. With just a couple of laps remaining. So we go back to Skipper with Annoyed Gamer. 0.4 the gap. Has the pace. Has the position. Cuts the corner. Gets away with that one. Does Skipper, moves them up to 4th position. But we're Just going to look on the penalties. And it does look like Annoyed Gamer will still be finishing in 3rd place unless they do pick up some late penalties. Apex Motoring Club, Apex fans, how are we feeling about this one? You've gone somewhat quiet in the chat. It's currently sat in 6th position. The drivers behind have got time penalties. Made some fantastic overtakes so far. How do we feel about that Apex Army? Some solid points there. As we have got yellow flags, we have got an incident, and it's G-Infamous. Oh, the commentator's curse has struck. Just as I said, one of the most consistent drivers on the circuit. A late spin for them. And that's them down to 9th position. Grant Potner taking the position back. The Destroyer picking up another time penalty. That does look like it's farewell to any hopes of a podium for the Destroyer, for the Ferrari. A place in my heart, the Ferrari being the car that I was driving last year when I was in C4. So good to see a Ferrari scoring some good points nonetheless in C4. As we see, not much happening on the circuit. The intervals all quite open. We only have now 12 drivers on the circuit. MB Gold picks up the 18th second of penalties that they have accumulated over the session. I don't think they're going to be making up any positions. There's anyone ahead of them picking up the same amount of penalties. But with the retirements, some good news for Jarno. Fastest lap currently being held by MB Gold. So we can see the drivers now going across the line there. That is Huss and Goey. The Destroyer does pick up 3rd on track, but Skipper's going ahead already. And the Annoyed Gamer going ahead of both of them. Apex Motoring Club coming home in 6th position. With Double having a fantastic drive coming home in 7th. It feels surreal not actually picking up the leader crossing the line, but that just shows where all the action was. Credit does have to go to Huss though, up 3 places, a fantastic start of the race for them. They really made it all work. The plan was executed to perfection, and it is a race win for Huss, who will be chasing down the championship leaders of Goon and TDT. I believe that might be them having the championship lead for the week. As Jarno crosses the line, the last driver to do so, picking up some good points in 11th place. Obviously top 15 as long as you finish to pick up points, so in this circumstance it is the top 12 picking up points today. Be interesting to see the on-screen driver of the day. There's a couple of shouts, and it is Double. I'm sure we had a couple of Double fans in the chat. Jacob Heather going to be very happy to see that they got the driver of the day. They do want them to get a top 6. Oh, top 6 would be a fantastic achievement for Double, given they didn't set a lap time in qualifying. But there it is, the man of the moment, Huss, on the podium. So we will just get the confirmation of the race results there. So as we said, Huss did pick up the race win. Goey did get 2nd place on their return in the Huss. Moved from 9th place to 2nd, a very fantastic drive by them. Annoyed Gamer starting in 3rd, finishing in 3rd, a solid drive by them. Skipper finishing in 4th position, the Destroyer in 5th. Apex Motoring Club, the Apex Army, will be happy with a 6th place position. Likewise will the Double fans in 7th. Goran Potner, their first drive there, managing to get 8th position. Started there on the grid, not going to be too disheartened by that. G-Infamous in 9th, Snell Henk in 10th. Jarno finishing in 11th, and MB Gold capping out the finishing drivers in 12th position. But that is all that we have time for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us watching C4 at Canada. Join us next week on Thursday night 7 PM, where we'll be racing in the Netherlands.